Well, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So now I've just watched the 2008 film Miami Vice. Now just to start off, I'm a huge fan of everything Miami Vice. I always loved the original television series. I used to watch it on the Retro channel when I was young all the time. Me and my buddy did. It has heavy nostalgia for me. I always thought it was a cool show. Always thought it was well done. I always just kind of got hooked into it and like delving into the whole world of it. And same here with this. I quite very much enjoy this 2008 film starring Jamie Foxx and Colin Farrell. Both of them played very good roles as the new cast, and a little miscast in a certain way, but also a salvageable cast, and also at the same time. And I love the imagery in this movie. It's like it's like a grainy but vivid at the same time kind of photography and cinematography, and I really enjoyed that. I don't know if it was shot on film or if it was shot digitally with like a grainy filter added on afterwards, either on the lens or digitally afterwards. I'm not sure, but either way, they did all of that really well, top notch. It all looked very, very nice. The music, I love the soundtrack in this movie. It's a very music-based film, and there's a lot of songs, a really varying spectrum of songs. There's a lot of different music, of a very wide range of music from all different kinds of genres and artists. And a lot of them are the true songs, the true originals as they are, and there's a lot of hybrid songs, which are songs that exist, but they're sort of spliced into other songs or covered by a band of a different genre than how it was originally sang. And I thought all of the music was super well done, really well paced, and it's a very, very music driven movie. Like the music carries you through the film. And another thing I'll say, the landscape, as you know, I love landscape cinematography. And this takes place mainly in the city, like of course Miami Vice, right? But all of the shots are super, super nice, super cool. There's lots of really beautiful shots of, the open water with the jet boats coming up onto it, just coming into the city lights shining over the water. Scenes where they're at the top of these big huge skyscraper buildings, and you can just see miles as far as the eye can see of city lights everywhere and other skyscrapers. It's really, really well done that way. A very much so a feast for the eyes, and in one as one way that you could put it. And I enjoyed the action. The action's very realistic. There's not a lot of people going flying and all of that kind of stuff when they're shot, and when they're beat up. Like a lot of it, there's actually not a whole shit ton of that kind of stuff, but a lot of it is very realistic looking, and it's brutal and it's violent and it's action packed, but it's not like this super eccentric, over the top portrayal where, like I said, like everybody's flying around every which way. The ending shootout is a really, really well paced sequence, and yeah, I really like this movie, and I really like anything to do with Miami Vice. One of my favorite shows, really. And I think they did a good job on remaking the movie. There's a few scenes that get a little bit corny. There's there's some love scenes in the movie, but those are tolerable. There's one in particular that takes place on a bus, and that is just like beyond corny, like the cheesiest thing, like beyond corny, truly. And Yeah, I mean, it might be also a little long for what it is. They could have narrowed that down a little better. The ending was well done and really good, but it could have, the pacing of the end shootout was paced perfectly. The movie before that was paced perfectly. The ending could have been not necessarily done better. I could have been done better. I'm not necessarily complaining about how it ended, but it could have been paced a little better. But again, the ending song is also really well. I always really liked the characters of these undercover agents, these undercover cops in Miami Vice, because you know a bit about them, and if you learn about the show and you learn about the characters and you pick up on these subtle nuances and follow the story, you get to know quite a bit more about them. But in a lot of ways, they're these sort of I don't know. They almost kind of remind me as like even though the original show was in the '80s and early '90s and that, and this one was nowadays, well, back in 2008. The characters almost remind me of like they sort of give me like an Assassin's Creed sort of vibe, in the sense that you know a bit about them and you know the overall idea of what they're doing, but there's something incredibly mysterious about what they're doing, and you don't quite know exactly what they're all about, and nothing would really surprise you about what's going on in their life aside this, special exclusive job they have per se. So it adds some mystery to the characters, which I like that. The original one I think was a perfect hybrid between, light and heavy. This one also was. It steered a little bit more towards the heavy side than the original series did, and I don't think it really needed to do that to be as effective. But I do also like how, they brought a more serious, modern, raw tone to this film, but also infused that old school sort of mystery, sort of almost like detective adventure in a certain way. Basically I did enjoy this film. And as far as the cheese grading goes, okay, I have no idea what cheese to give this one. There's almost not a lot of cheese. There's a bit here and there, but there's not a lot of cheese. But what the kind of cheese I'm gonna give it is, it's actually a nameless cheese. It's one that you don't know. Everything in this movie is high class. Everything about it's high class, in my opinion. So it's definitely a high class cheese. It might be a little tangy at times, but it's also a high class cheese. So I would say, when you go somewhere like super exclusive, super rich, super luxurious, and there's some sort of buffet or big table full of all kinds of foods that are all kinds of different flavors and tastes of all the highest quality there is. And, there's a dish in the center with some cheese and some crackers and all of that, and then you got your regular cheeses and all that, but at the center there's this like exclusive fancy cheese that you can't quite name it or tell what it is from looking at it, but you try it, it's a little tangy, it's a little different, you don't quite know how to place it, but ultimately it's good. Yeah, I know that's a little elaborate, but I was trying to think of like different brands and different actual cheeses that are out there to place on this one, but it was actually incredibly hard to do so with this one. So I'm going to give it that mystery cheese. And I think, my grading for Miami Vice is, again, I have heavy nostalgia with this whole story and with the whole, everything to do with this. So I'm tended to be a bit jaded with liking it, more than some other people nowadays anyway might. But nonetheless, it's not perfect, but it's an awesome movie and series to delve into. And so I'm going to give the movie, the 2008 film, an A. Just a straight up solid A. Another thing I will say, if you want to hear a further take, I'm not going to talk too much about the original show, because that's like I'd love to delve into more in depthly in the future on the channel. But one thing I will say, if you want to hear, if you're curious about anything else I have to say about Miami Vice, is check out my other series on my channel, The Five Corners. I was hanging out there one time, I was filming an episode, and my buddy Darcy comes by, and, you know, we're filming The Five Corners like usual, we're talking, we're hanging out, and we end up talking about, you know, mainly entertainment, movies, music, anime, all that kind of stuff, television, all that kind of stuff, and entertainment. And we ended up having quite a long conversation about it, and it was all captured on camera, and it's not a bad conversation, so it's, you can check that out. It's that particular episode is The Five Corners, Movies, Anime, and Entertainment Podcast is what it's called. A lot of what I said about Miami Vice, both particularly this new movie and the original show, is, you know, very relevant, and I stand by a lot of it. A lot of it was, you know, on the spot, and I didn't I didn't really expect under that time and place to be talking about such things, so it kind of came, you know, out of nowhere for me, even though I was excited to be talking about it, because, you know, I'm super into it. It was unexpected at the time, so a lot of it was, you know, spur of the moment, you know, just off the top of my skull, kind of a conversational matter, you know, right? But still, I stand by, not all of it, but I stand by a lot of what I said in that conversation. So I recommend checking that out if you're curious about anything more in the meantime about what we at The Five Corners have to say about Miami Vice. So the 2008 film, I give an A, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Please come back for more.